Hello, welcome. So today we're going to learn how to encrypt your PDF files inside of Adobe Illustrator. This falls in handy when you are exporting or sending a document that have some sensitive information like some credentials or username and password and thereabout. These are used for brand identity design exports or for web designers exporting their data, their clients' data or documentation to them. So for this instance, I am using the ShopStation data documentation, which I prepared and exported for them. As you can see, this particular information is very necessary to be encrypted. You don't encrypt all data. It's not all data that requires encryption. Not like when you're sending a logo to your client, you encrypt it. You'll be stressing them to put the information in. It's very important to note, when you encrypt a data or encrypt a PDF file, do not send the username and password. This actually will require a username and password to access the file, to open the file, I mean. Do not send username and password to the clients on WhatsApp or whatever medium you are chatting. It is best practice for, even if you send it that particular way, delete it immediately the clients know the password, or call them on a phone call and tell them their password. The essence for this is that if you encrypt a data and still send the username and password to the clients, they might misplace their phone or hand it over to the wrong person, and those particular data will be compromised, and that doesn't make any sense. It's now being that you might be the person that have actually compromised their website or their files, or they don't know what is going on. You know, clients will always blame you. So to stay on a safer side, make sure you give them the password on a phone call. So we'll be doing two things in this tutorial. One of which is we are going to learn how to lock this data so that users or your clients will need a specific password to or a PIN to open the file. The second is to make it difficult for other users or designers to actually use your document or your file. So maybe you send a file to a client, you don't want them to modify the information inside of it. You can lock it with a password, a different password from the password you locked it from access. There are two access here. One access is being able to access the file, read the information in it. The second access is being able to edit it in professional tools like AI. So if you use the single password for them not to be able to actually, people not to be able to see the information inside, you should also be able to lock that particular file so people can't access and edit it. Okay, so this comes in two ways. One of which is users might want to use your template to work, which doesn't make much sense. They can use it to actually put you in trouble. And the second is to disable the ability for clients to edit the document. So sometimes you might have some kind of agreement, like a kind of contract with a client. I have cases like that, when a client will want to actually edit the information in the contract. The second phase is that you might be having a third party who is negotiating with the client on a particular brand project, and they actually want you to pay them a certain percentage, but don't want you to know the exact amount they are charging the client. So they might be charging the client $1,000, and they ask you to actually put in the detail for the documentation or for the contract or for the proposal. They want you to add the detail to be about $500. You know, that doesn't make sense. When they edit it, they're going to make it $1,000. And that will be bad on you, because in most cases, you might lose the project. In most cases, they might also transfer the client to someone else. In most cases, you might stand the chance of overcharging when you are actually being underpaid. You get the point? So we are going to learn those two things. One of which is how to save this particular file and lock it up so people can actually access it with the password, which is the first thing we are going to do now. So when you're done with your document, as we have here, this encrypted file. And by the way, if you want to learn how to create a data file, or you want to learn how to create a proposal, this for also brand designers, web designers, you want to learn how to create a proposal, as much comment as I can see, that will encourage me. I will actually create this tutorial. I'll teach you fully how to create your own type of template like this, so you can reuse it for clients to send proposal or send a contract or send their data to them. Okay, make sure to hit the like so that this can spread to more people. It's easier for the algorithm to understand that someone was here. Okay, and also subscribe if you are not done so. Let's get into the main thing. So to save, you already know what to do. Control Alt S. Okay, Now we have the file here. Let's try to save it with a different name. Now we select PDF to save with. Let me zoom closely so you can see. And we hit on save. Fine. So in this particular interface, this is what you should do. Click on the security area. Click on that. You can see here, it says requires a password to open the document. So users can't access this particular document until they put the password. So if they don't input the password, they can't access this document. And this second one is use password to restrict editing security and permission settings, which means this is the second one I was talking about. Users can't edit this file if it's the same password. So it's advisable you use different passwords for this too, so that when they try to edit, they might try to add the same password which you actually provided them. Now, this is very important to note. If you don't add this password and you add this password, which is use password to restrict editing security and permission settings, this same password can also be used to open the document. Or in most cases, the documents don't even need a password to open. But to edit it, they will need that password. So you enable this and you enable this. In the first one, we are going to add a password. Okay, you use numbers for this. The second one, we add a different password. You can use 0101 for the main password, and the editing password you can use 1010, so that you can't just forget it. You might add different password for different clients. So use simpler password that you can remember. You can use 9090, then the editing password can be 0909, whichever one you think is fit. So when we are done, we click on Save PDF, and it will require us to put the password for access. This is the password for access. So 1, and we click OK, and it requires us to put the password for editing. We put the password here. So the first password is the password for access. This is confirmation that the password you actually entered, you actually know what you entered. So we click OK, and the file will be saved in our desktop, okay, or in the appropriate place. So now if we want to open this file, double click on it. It will require the password before the file is open, as you can see from here. So we need to put the password so we can actually open the file. You get the point? As you can see, then if you want to edit this file, we drag it into Adobe Illustrator. Let's drag it into here. It will also require a password for us to open it. Why this is open? Because the data is already open in this system. So we have to close down this one. We don't want to save anything. Let's do that once again. Let's drag that into Illustrator. Okay, fine. So now we drag it in here. We require the password. So if we put the first password, we will be met with this particular error. So we need to put the second password before we can now access and edit. I hope you get it. Once again, my name is Manuel from Qatar Studios. If you like this video, drop a like, share to your friends. I will meet you in the next one. Do have a wonderful day.